Hello, hello. Welcome to another Collector Fusion with a special guest, Jason Bienvenu. I like how you got the phonetic.
You nailed it.
It was phonetically spelled out there, so you can actually get it right, though. It's like that's very clever.
Yeah, I thought it'd be fun.
And thank you again for coming out, hanging out with us, and geeking out over toys, and especially the awesome toys that you're making.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me. I'm excited. Having my after 5 o'clock coffee. We don't have to go to work tomorrow, right? So we're good.
Nah, I'm a Monday through Friday night, 8 to 5, so I'm good.
I'm an everyday guy. I work every day.
Quinn don't stop.
Nope. I only take 2 days off per year, which is Christmas and Thanksgiving. Other than that, I work 363 days out of the year.
Dang.
Okay,
I would hard for the money.
I would like to just go right in. I'd like to go right in, dry. I want to start at the beginning because I have read your original Kingdom comic. Okay.
Oh wow.
2013, right? And
yeah.
I love it. I love it. It's great. It's fantastic. And so that was, at the time that you were making that original comic, were you thinking about making toys at all?
When I was doing the character design for the figures, I was thinking about how how fun Masters of the Universe character art was, and I thought, if I'm going to do the character designs, why don't I make them to where they would make fun toys? But I never really thought, okay, like as soon as I do this, we're going to do the toys. But once the comics were done, my creative mind was like, well, you did the comics, so you should probably try to do the toys now. And I said, okay, let's do them. And it just kind of went from there.
And I just have to say, and I was talking about this with Jared last night.
Oh yeah.
I'm a huge fan of your art style. I love that original artwork from the original series. I'm not to knock anything that Animal Warriors of the Kingdom is doing. It's phenomenal. But when I first saw your art style, it reminded me, not that your artwork is the same, but it reminded me of the feeling I got the first time I saw Mike Mignola, in that it was so unique and different from anything else that I had seen.
Very much. That
it just popped and stood out so much that I just loved it. Are you ever planning on maybe inking or penning an issue of the new series?
I don't know. I don't want to rule it out, but I still do the colors for them. But it's funny, whenever I decided to start drawing again, I remember going into a comic shop and just kind of like looking at books, and I picked up 2 different Mike Mignola titles. I picked up obviously Hellboy, and I wish I could remember what the other one was. I can't remember what it was, but it might have been something like a Lobster Johnson, like just a one shot or something. And I was like, I could do something similar to this, and so it gave me like the freedom to like not do the quote unquote house style that like Marvel and DC is known for. But that's a huge compliment, and I really like the way he does all of his paneling and the pacing of the comic books, and I like that.
Such a fun style.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. Yeah. Like I like that his storytelling doesn't necessarily pander to the audience. Like he tells his stories through like visual cues, and like, if there's something that's a very important plot point, they'll mention it in text. But I just really like the way he tells stories, and I thought it was a good mentor type of situation. It was almost like a comic book recipe, for me, a how-to show, I should say.
It was fantastic. That was the thing that got me the most, I think, when I first was pull it up on the first page and that kind of stuff, was just the artwork just popped. Like, it was great. I loved it. I mean, the story, yeah, no, it's just the artwork. No, the story and everything was good too. But that was the thing that caught my attention first on that original series. And
it's funny because I'll go back and I'll read the story now, and I feel like the writing's kind of a little cringy for me. But it was like the first thing I ever did, so it's still.
I mean,
it's nostalgic. But
I think it's great. I loved it.
You.
Now, moving
a lot of
into
like that.
Yeah, and I mean, moving into the newer series. I mean, obviously, you can tell you packed a lot more into it. There's a lot more myth and lore and all this stuff.
Right. Yeah. That's,
and
going forward, I was like, one of the things that I just love about Masters is, the fact that they might be like having like a sword and sorcery fight, and then like 2 seconds they're like, now to the sleds, and they'll like jump on like the sky sleds and like go flying around like on these like stone griffin sleds, And I thought to myself, I was like, that's a really fun sandbox. So let me like sit down and like really think about it. And it's funny that, like the artist Utoma and I met during lockdowns for COVID, and like we were kind of bouncing ideas off of each other, and we're like, man, we were like on the same wavelength, And so yeah, like we tried to like really set everything up so that whenever something's in toy form or you see something on the comic book, you're like, checks out. It makes sense, according to the lore that we've built. So what's up, Tiffany? I see she's in there. Let's see, what's she asking me? Eye articulation chain. Hold on a second. Tiffany's asking me something. Let's see here. She's asking us to add some descriptions for one of the figures. So we're gonna get all that uploaded this weekend.
I know you've been updating the Kickstarter with adding like the graphics and adding the alternate heads and stuff. And
She wants us to mention that. So like the chameleon Gresh has articulated eyes. The little
we were debating about that. Does he have articulated eyes? I was looking at
they do move. They do move. Yeah, they're articulated. The bunny, the rabbit Kanji has 360 ears as well. So those two figures have articulation in the actual figure's head. All the lizards' mouths open and close. Let's see what else is she's asking. She was talking about both of them, and she says she loves our newest reveal, Scathing, which is one of our stretch goals that's coming up.
I saw that today. That looks so cool.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, we're super excited about introducing all of our birds. After our Horde Assassins figure, which is less than, let's see, it looks like we're less than 7K away from unlocking our next figure. The next thing after that will be our first bird buck, which is Raving. So we're super excited about that.
Yeah, those are very exciting to get to see. Like even more, it's amazing how many bodies we're getting to unlock on this campaign. Like,
yeah, we're super excited about it,
and I hope it just keeps skyrocketing for you. And
thank you so much. Yeah, we feel like we're right on track. We're doing everything that we had kind of planned. We're in that middle part of the Kickstarter where the backing is slow but steady. So as long as we kind of keep up the pace and keep moving up a little bit each day, the last kind of 3 to 4 days, we'll start to see everything kind of ramping up and really kind of checking off all those big stretch goals that we have listed throughout the page.
And you're currently up to a little over 213,000 right now. So.
Yeah, we're super excited.
That's awesome, and I want to see it skyrocket. I want to see the big guys unlock.
Me too. Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, we've got so much great stuff packed into the Kickstarter. We've got each deal is essentially lower than retail price, just as a thank you for the for backing the Kickstarter. But even at the 2 figure and 1 weapon set deal, the discounts like on that start really great. Like you're essentially almost getting a weapon set for free, and then the discounts just kind of continue as you go forward with especially with the all in and then the epic all in have like super great discounts built into those pledges.
It's definitely best deal to go ahead and back to Kickstarter. and it,
Right.
it goes into the total automatically, helps unlock more cool stuff.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you don't.
It's better for the consumer and for you guys too. That's
Right. We want to do it, we want this to be a mutually beneficial type of situation. So the customer, we call them tribe members, they're going to get a great deal. And then obviously we get the funds to produce the figures that we want to create. And what's nice is, you can back now and pick out exactly what you want, and you're not going to get billed until the 17th. So there's plenty of time to kind of pick out what you want and lock it in and help us, reach and surpass all the stretch goals that we've got planned out.
and it's really cool too, like how you did a long Kickstarter date instead of just like a 30-day one. I see so many ones do a 30 days. Is really good idea doing
So the way I think about it is, the weekends are kind of a crapshoot depending on how busy it is. This is a Easter weekend and everything, so a lot of people aren't necessarily tethered to their desk like on a work day. So we padded that out. We tried to make sure that there was like at least 3 pay periods, and then we wanted to end 2 days after everyone's tax returns go through. So there's a little extra incentive, to get exactly what you want and not have to like sweat it so much, because you're going to be getting that tax refund coming in, hopefully.
Like on a 30-day plan too, it's like anything could happen too. It's maybe it's like, oh, I would love to back this, but this happened, and if I could have had another month.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
I just dropped like $3,500 on car repairs. So,
oh my God, toys are way fun than that.
I know.
What you do is toys, and then you just get like an old jalopy, like on what was it, The Mask? That old jalopy that he had. That was so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any of the figures that I've gotten here in the store sell out.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's one of the things.
And through my distributor. And through my distributor, they're sold out through my distributor as well. There is pre-orders. Awesome. There is pre-orders that I have already for the store, so I'm just waiting for those pre-orders to come in.
Cool. That's awesome. That's awesome.
The cross compatibility too with other lines, just not only just mixing in the characters. You have weapons packs and accessory sets.
Exactly. Yeah, the weapons set for this Kickstarter. Yeah, see, look, I love that. What's funny is Arlen sculpted that Hercules, and then he sculpted most of those weapons and armor and stuff too.
They definitely look like they go together perfectly,
right? Yeah, he sculpted all that, so it works out great.
And that's we've got the Marvel Legends bucks too. It's like,
dude, he looks so good. What is the armor on his legs sculpted on? I didn't see. That's the new one, right? Look how cool that looks. Come on, that's awesome. Yeah. So Arlen, James, and Carter all work at Hasbro, so we've got the luxury of having these amazing sculptors, and I get to call them my friends now too, because we're all buddies. We'll talk about like random stuff like movies and cartoons and obviously toys and stuff, when we're not necessarily talking about AWOK stuff all the time. So that's probably one of the coolest things to kind of take away from Wave 1 was, making those friendships. And it's really fun to work with people that you're friends with and that you admire, their talents and respect their artistic knowledge and what's the word, talents.
With getting started with the action figure lines, like how did that even come to be? Like that, the process of that whole from ideal to concept to getting the factory, just whatever. I know you can't say everything, but just
I'll say this: like we did the 3 3/4-inch stuff first. I did a Kickstarter for it. It didn't make enough gold. It didn't make gold the first time, and I was kind of, I was bummed out for like 3 weeks, and then I was like, all right, let me just take all the input and everything that the fans gave and kind of go back to the drawing board. And I basically took a year to resculpt all that stuff and learn how to use social media as far as like, advertising and spreading the word and stuff on it to the best that I could at the time. And I relaunched it a year later. The Kickstarter did great. And we had a factory and a project manager. And we produced one round of the 3 3/4-inch stuff. And then that that project manager kind of flaked out on me, and then our current project manager, who I'm good friends with, Dave Proctor, kind of came along, rescued us, and has been producing great stuff ever since. But it was definitely like a trial by fire. So I got the bad experience of like toy making, and then I got like the luxury of like a really great, passionate factory and project manager who just knows what they're doing and really cares about each project or customer that they have at their factory. So having Dave is just a priceless asset, because his knowledge of sculpting and plastic mixture and problem solving is just amazing.
That did it help that, like, because I know you had done the smaller scale line first. Like, did that help quite a bit getting that in there? I mean, already having a lot of the contacts and stuff from having done that.
It did. It really did, because it was you can go to. It's funny. I remember getting out of college and thinking I knew stuff, and then realizing like the first 2 months at like a real job where everything's all kind of messed up and there's real world problems, that you learn so much more doing it for real as opposed to kind of like just reading about it and studying about it.
Yeah.
So like going through that first 2 productions really taught me a lot. And then when I moved over with Dave's factory, I just continued to kind of like listen and learn from his knowledge and experience.
So I want to ask you a little bit about the new comic now that's coming out. I mean, for me, it makes it infinitely more enjoyable to collect the action figures when there's a story behind it, and not just how some toy companies, like, they make the action figures and then they come up with an online comic that is kind of let's be honest, there's not a lot. You can tell there's not a lot of thought put into the story. But having a real world that, especially because it goes back a ways with the original Kingdom, and having that in there, that really adds to the characters. It makes you care about whether it's Thane or Pale or whoever, right? Like,
exactly.
You have a connection to those characters the same way I might with some Marvel stuff, because I grew up reading Marvel comics or DC or whatever, right?
Right.
So when it comes to those comics, obviously I've only read the first 2 issues because that's all that I had available to me. I can't wait for number 3. But I mean, obviously this is you're just set up more as like an ongoing series,
right? So we're doing like the first 5 issues is the first story arc, and we kind of think of each story arc as a season of a cartoon, and like I said, whenever we were in lockdown, we were, kind of talking and thinking about stuff. And being an only child, like, I very much played with my toys in my own little universe, and I'd make backstories and stuff. And, I still have multiple Batmen from the 90s. And even at the time, I thought it was kind of funny how there would be like Sherbet Orange Batman or, Arctic Batman. And I was like, those are fun and everything. And it's kind of exciting as a kid to get like a different Batman, but I wanted to make sure that like anytime you see like a variant of a hero or a main character in the comic book, that's why there's a reason for the variant. So like, you said you had read issue 2, you notice that they're like wearing gladiator armor in issue 2. So as you read the comics and you're like, oh, Pale's got like this different look in this one, I'm wondering if we're going to get a toy. That's kind of the idea. It's like we've got little Easter eggs kind of peppered in throughout the comic book, through each issue, to kind of show off like, oh, hey, listen, this is a little hint that you might be getting a new variant of one of your favorite figures coming up.
Now, let me ask you this, and I don't, if this spoils anything, then don't answer. Are we at some point going to get a figure of human Kali?
Yeah, that's actually the plan. We just don't know exactly where we're going to slot it in. But humans will start to play. They'll start to play a little bit more into starting on the second story arc. So we're going to factor in humans and aliens and robots and stuff. This is just kind of you know, I find that like series 1 and 2 on the Kickstarter was kind of just like easing the reader into something that is just a small corner of like the universe that we're creating.
Yeah. I remember reading when I read the original Kingdom, and the way that you had done the dialogue and everything, and the way that there was some technology. You know, you've got the floating city, and you've got some things in there. And I remember as I'm reading that, I'm thinking, is this like a Planet of the Apes type thing where this is far in the future? Because it feels like they've got some human technology, and there's the colloquial language is a little, you know, what we would hear today and things like that. And then you know, the story's over and it doesn't really address any of that. And then of course when the new series comes out, it just goes all in and which I love. I loved what you did with that story as far as like how they evolved and the arc and all the stuff. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but it's all in the first issue. So
it's in the first issue.
You gotta read it. I mean, seriously, I grew up a huge comic book fan, you know, throughout the 80s, 90s.
Yeah, that was a fun time, wasn't it?
It was. It really was. I mean, I'm a huge like Chris Claremont fan from back in the day, and you know all that kind of stuff. And I've always, you know, collected toys off and on, except for while I was having kids and that kind of thing. But I noticed that in the last 10 years or so, I've mostly gotten out of comics. There's really only 2 series that I had read, which was Walking Dead, and then it was over. And I still read, and I still read Saga, which I think is a great book.
Man, I felt like Saga felt like very cinematic.
It does. I don't know how they would make that into a movie that wasn't extremely rated R, but if they could, I'd be all for it. But
I feel like it would have to be a cartoon series, you know, like maybe on Amazon, kind of similar to Invincible.
Yeah, very adult, like an HBO Max,
right?
Like the HBO series on the Spawn HBO series back in the day.
Right. I forgot about that. Yeah, I mean, so like whenever I started, kind of like getting back into comics and stuff, I was into like I'm friends with local comic artist Rob Guillory from Chew. And so I was kind of like listening to that or reading that, and then Cody Chamberlain was doing Sweets at the time. Those were like very influential. I'm trying to think who else. So I was reading those 2. I was reading I think it was called Black Science, Hellboy, Headlopper. What else? I think that's a good representation of like kind of where my headspace was, you know, when I was creating stuff.
Well, I just gotta say,
I was enjoying. Sorry.
Well, no, I just gotta say, your stuff is the first stuff I've been excited about in a long time in comics.
Oh, thank you. You know,
it really is. Genuinely, I'm not just saying that because you're on the show. Like, genuinely, I love it, and the fact that there's also a toy line for it, an action figure line, is just perfect for me, for somebody like me, right? Like I am a comic fan who just hasn't found any good comics lately, and I love, you know, these action figures, and then, you know, here comes stuff, you know, like your stuff comes along, and it's just like, oh well, here's an awesome comic that actually is good and doesn't feel like it was just slapped together to back up a toy line, but it actually feels well thought out and fleshed out, and the characters are great, and the mythology and the story and everything is great, you know.
Thank you. You know, I was awesome. Trying to be like really conscientious about, you know, like providing something that didn't feel like it was just kind of tacked on. Like I find a lot of times when movies do like a comic or like a video game or something, it just kind of it feels very second. It feels like an afterthought, and that's not necessarily like the toy or the toy or the comic or the video game creators. A lot of it's like, you know, there's all these moving parts and they're kind of flying by the seat of their pants to try to, you know, keep up with the release date of the movies and everything. So, you know, because we're such a small studio, we had the luxury of, you know, taking our time and kind of addressing some of the things that, like, as fans, you know, we thought needed a little bit extra loving.
Yeah. Well, it's phenomenal, and again, and it blows me away specifically because it has been so long since I've found a comic book that gives me the same feelings as all the stuff I grew up reading. You know,
thank you.
And it's been most of the stuff today, and not to knock anybody else doing stuff, but I just haven't been interested in just about everything that's out there, and so to find something that actually gets me pulled in. And by the way, there's an awesome action figure line for a toy freak like me. It's just like the perfect combination. And
we had a toy news show last night, and after hours we hang out on backstage. Matt logged in so we could geek out about Kingdom and AWOK.
I just read the first 2 issues this week of.
Oh, cool. Okay, so it's fresh.
I had read Kingdom.
This one.
Right. I hopped on just to tell them how awesome it was.
That's so cool. Yeah, you know. Oh dang! I lost my train of thought. I feel like I was gonna say something clever and then I forgot. Let's see. There's 2 questions. It says, where do you get your ideas from, the animals used, and what got you into wanting to create a toy line? So the first one I'll answer. So years ago, before I did the comic book, I was doing like logos and stuff, doing graphic design, and one of them was for like a zoo, and at the end of the week I had all these like animal drawings and little doodles and stuff, and I saw one of them that was a lemur, and I was like, man, it'd be kind of cool to tell the hero's tale through like an anthropomorphic, perspective. And then I kind of like shifted it over to like them being an ape because I felt it might be a little bit more, visually appealing to start off like the main characters an ape. So that's how Pale became like the main character. And then for the toy lines, I've always been interested in toys. We kind of talked about, how we love toys, and I tried to stop liking toys kind of like in high school, and then I was just like, you know what, I love toys, I don't care. And I distinctly remember McFarlane coming out with the Metal Gear series, and that video game was huge at the time, and I was like, you know what, I love toys, I don't care, like I don't care if it's nerdy or whatever, and that it was kind of just off to the races after that.
Now let me ask you another question.
Sure.
Referencing the original comic, any plans on bringing back the whole power absorption thing from the original Kingdom comic, or is that something that kind of just stays with that?
I don't know. I don't want to take it off the table, but for right now, we decided to kind of just go in a different direction.
Yeah. No, and I understand.
Yeah, I would say now, probably not.
Yeah. I was just curious because again, there's so much. I remember when I opened Animal Wars 1, and it starts off, and just because of the art style, it looks like Pale's a little bit older, and I went, wait, is this a continuation? And then by page 3,
right,
it becomes obvious that it's a kind of a retelling with a little bit different twists and turns and stuff.
A reboot. Yeah.
I'm just curious because of how I'm just wondering how much of that original story will eventually make its way, like Boro.
There's a lot of it. A lot of it start making its way.
Boro's a great character.
Yeah, so you've read the comic, the original comic. So like, Gresh is basically like a rebooted version of Lasher, and the Void is a rebooted version of Boro, and Pale's obviously Pale. There's a lot of characters that just kept their name. I don't remember when Boone factors in, but like Boone and Grimes are going to be appearing in the next story arc. So, that's kind of the way we're kind of moving stuff forward.
Sci-Fi George has a super chat with a question. At some point, will the Simeon figures come with a set of gripping and fisted feet? I really love the entire set. And back to the Kickstarter.
That's a great question. Thank you so much for backing the Kickstarter. So we were talking about, Dan and I were, Dan was asking if we should do gripping feet for the birds. And I was like, yeah, definitely do it. Because people were asking about gripping feet for the apes and stuff. And so we've got like multiple questions about asking, are they going to get gripping feet? And every time someone would ask, I would say, I would like to do it, but I don't know what they want it for. Like, do they want it to grip a pencil, or do they want it to grip a branch? So it's like, I need to know like what they wanted to grip. And someone was like, we just wanted to grip the other weapons. And I was like, okay, that's what I needed to know. So like once I was like understanding what they were asking for, I was like, okay, good. That's what I need. I needed that like missing information of like what exactly they meant. So once we figured that out, or once I understood that, I was like, yeah, there's no reason why we can't do it. That being said, you know, right now we're focusing on all these different body types for this Kickstarter, but we plan on, you know, whenever we get back to doing those other figures and re-offering, you know, those 8 characters, we're probably going to start offering that type of stuff in the packages. Sorry, I was having a brain fart.
The older I get, the more I have.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like, man, what's going on? Yeah, Tiffany's asking about us listing like the price points on the figures. We're definitely doing that. Right now, I'm trying to do the. I'm actually updating the Kickstarter on the back end. Everyone, I had several people asking me to like add the graphics for stuff that's already been unlocked, because we're offering so much stuff that it's really easy to kind of lose track of what's been unlocked. So I actually just kind of did that while we were just discussing the other stuff.
Yeah, I was sitting here looking at the skating, the picture of the graphic on the Kickstarter.
Yeah, he's going to be another fun character. All the birds are going to come with wings. These are just kind of, you know, proof of concept images right now. Like I know Dan's getting really close to finishing raving, so we'll see an actual like, you know, working version of him. Like it'll be a gray render, but hopefully we'll have a photoed version of him before the end of the Kickstarter.
Yeah. I think that's so we should see my screen right now. I'm mocking up the graphics for those things and adding a bunch of updates and text already.
Yeah, I'm clicking over to see if it worked, like if those updates worked. Let's see here. Yeah, now it's showing. So we can kind of keep track of what's been unlocked. That's cool. Yeah. Yeah, cool deal.
Awesome. See, the heavy infantry, my eyes are horrible.
Dude, same. I just got my eyes fixed. I got LASIK, so how days when it's really fuzzy and days when it's really crisp.
I'm at that point where I need glasses to see distance. I used to be able to find to see the screens and stuff with my glasses on, but now if I have my glasses on, I cannot read the computer screens at all.
Yeah, you know, right after I got LASIK, not this Thursday, but the Thursday before, and like I got it, and I got off the table, and I was like, whoa, I can see like 20/20, and then like just throughout the healing process, like it gets to where you're like your near vision comes first, and then like the far vision comes, you know, that's the last thing to kind of come back. So I think it was this past Wednesday, I was running errands and we were heading back home, and we were like headed towards the sun, you know, like where the sun was rising. And my eyes just started like really, really watering, and they were like tearing up. And like when it finally cleared up, I was like, whoa, I can like see really, really clear. I was like, oh, cool, it's finally back, you know, but I still have a little bit of fuzziness. So it comes and goes. It'll get there.
Well, it's my brother got it a while back too, and I kind of wish I could be able to make time to do that.
Yeah, it was like okay, be ready to like not do anything for. I think it wound up being like 4 days, and I was like, by the 4th day, I was like, come on, we need to get those eyeballs working again, you know.
Oh, and with the different color variants of Thane, I noticed you got the white version, you got this SDC. Well, not SDC one. The orange one, it was exclusive. Yeah,
that's Tanger, which is funny because some people call it Tanger. So it's pronounced Tanger, like tangerine. And Derek and I will sing that Flaming Lips song where it's like, she uses tangerine. That's how we remember it.
Can we expect any more like variations on the Thane buck, or?
He'll probably get some in the future, but right now, the horde brute, that army builder's probably gonna be it for quite a while. So I recommend picking up any of those figures. We're really proud of them. I feel like they're something that even if you don't collect a lot of AWOK stuff, it'll fit into your collection stuff. Like a lot of people just figure out a way to fit in their collection. You know?
Oh,
so, and it's.
Yeah, I have a room full of figures that goes on, and
yeah, y'all got like awesome collections, man. So cool. Look at that. Oh man, that looks so cool. What?
And
what state are you in?
I'm in Virginia.
Okay, man, that's cool looking. It looks great.
And I can always work in ways to work these awesome figures into my collection and display different things.
And that's another thing. Like I like to mix and match stuff. Like growing up, I've always mixed and matched like my GI Joes and Star Wars figures and vehicles, and then I kind of segued into Masters and Thundercats, mixing together those, and then mixing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with the Thundercats and everything else. And then I think I kind of moved into like the Toy Biz era, X-Men and X-Force stuff, and then the Power of the Force came out again, where we were like, oh, finally we got new Star Wars toys again. And then I went through that kind of like 2-year period of trying not to be into toys, and McFarlane ruined that with their Metal Gear stuff, and the Spawn series was great. What else did they do? At the time, Four Horsemen was sculpting for McFarlane. They had, I think it was like the Total Chaos series was so cool. Yeah.
Well, I was talking about mixing stuff in. This was the reason why I was wondering about a variance on Thane. You could totally work these in as like guerrilla warriors from DC, from the Guerrilla Nation. Like,
I haven't read that much DC. It's funny because a lot of people ask me about like pop culture stuff and like comics and stuff like that, and I'm interested in history, so sometimes I won't get certain references. Like I'm interested in Mongol history, the Huns. I really like Aztec and Mayan history. Obviously, Roman history, stuff like that's very fascinating to me. So I kind of take a lot of inspiration and cues from all that stuff.
I can know the feeling too. Like when I grew up in the era before this thing called the internet existed.
Right, exactly. And yeah. Thank God, right? Holy cow.
I would read books and I would actually. We had like 2 sets of encyclopedias, and I would read like the sections of mythology, Norse mythology, and things like that, and just really study it. Like,
right.
Enjoy this.
What's a book?
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
It's so funny you say that, because before I was doing this full time, I was working at a university, and like you wouldn't believe like the books kids would throw away. Like they'd throw away these awesome history books that were like phone book size, and I was like, yes, please, I'll take that.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just kind of like, a lot of it I already had something with the similar content, but I was like, come on, that's a free big giant book. I'm taking that. They would just at the end of like their semester, they would just kind of like offload those books that they wouldn't get a high resale value for. And I was like, this is actually like a really good resource. Y'all should keep it. It's enjoyable to have, handy. It's like, we have hurricanes so often. It's just kind of like nice to have stuff to read if you don't have electricity for a week.
Oh yeah. Well, I too am on the Gulf Coast. I'm down in Texas. And so
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
What part of Texas are you in? Houston?
No, further down. I don't know if you know where Brownsville is.
Oh wow, you're way down there. Okay.
Yeah, I'm so far south. I can either go to Mexico or the Gulf. If I go right.
Nice.
That's
I'm in
down
Lafayette. I'm in Lafayette, and it's funny. Like we don't realize how close the ocean is until a hurricane comes in, and like you can smell the ocean air. You're just like, oh boy,
yeah.
Here we go.
Well, that's the thing about living by the ocean too. I can't remember the last time I actually went. You take it for granted when it's that close. You just kind of forget it's there.
Yeah. I think it's literally like 14 minutes away, but we forget about it because there's like so much, there's trees and like just I don't want to say like a forest, but there's, so much vegetation in between us and that like 14 miles to the coast, you know?
Quinn, did you have a question?
Oh yeah. Since other toy lines usually do like homage figures or characters, kind of like Mythic Legions does a few for like Masters of the Universe and whatnot. And since you say you got some influences from like Thundercats and stuff like, is there any possibility we might see some homage figures in your line?
Yeah, they're going to be like convention exclusive
or Masters.
Yeah, totally. We so the last homage figure we did was for PowerCon. That was Tanger. That was a Beastman homage. And then I guess we'll make an announcement whenever we have the next convention exclusive locked in. Well, we'll call them like event exclusives because we'll probably do like several conventions with that character or the figure. But yeah, we do have the radar.
Well, I know Jared would be happy if you did Thane in Optimus Prime colors and Kali in Megatron colors.
We got several getting that. Someone was talking about what was it called? It was a Transformer convention doing an Optimus Primal like in the OG colors, like the 1990 figure. Yeah. And I was like, we're talking about it at Toylanta at breakfast, and I was like nodding my head like to make sure like they knew that I was listening to them, but I was like literally doing like the color design in my head, and I was like, yes, nod that you're still listening. And I was absorbing what they were saying, but I was also like turning the figure around in my head and like doing like little paint applications and stuff. And then after like we talked about it, I was like, hey, just remind me, because like in my head I might completely forget about it if like someone doesn't mention it,
Totally could see like an Optimus Primal out of thing. So.
Yeah, I think that would be great.
But that'll be just Prime.
Yeah.
Or you could make some Battle Beast homage figures.
We'll just say Primal. Cool. Yeah, it's funny. So like
during
one of my core members
during Beast Wars, that was his catchphrase. That's just Prime.
Is that what they would say? I don't remember much about the cartoon. It came out at a time that, like, I think whenever the cartoon aired, I was like either going off to school or like I would get home like right when it was ending. I can't remember now. I'm sure it was syndicated, so it's probably different for everyone. But oh shoot, what was I gonna say? It couldn't have been that important, right? Let's see here.
Dinosaur. Could you answer like was asking like Dinosaurs homage?
It's so funny. Someone mentioned that the red lizard looked similar to one of the dinosaurs, and I was like, man, I totally forgot about that show until y'all mentioned it. But I do remember the theme song being stuck in my head for a few weeks when I was in second grade, and I was just like, the song out of my head. I remember really enjoying the cartoon, but I had forgot about it.
It still pops in my head every so often. It's like
it's great, dude.
Yeah.
Dinosaurs. You're welcome. That'll be stuck in your head for an hour.
Yeah. If you want one to get stuck in your head, the intro to Beast Wars 2, Japanese anime. That will be stuck in your head.
Someone mentioned
the heavy infantry lizard that kind of looks like one of the main villains. Is like from Dinosaurs.
Okay.
Genghis Rex.
That's what they were talking about. Yeah. I was like, hey, I'll take it. That sounds cool. But, a lot of that's just like complementary colors, like orange and blue just literally go together, So it's just kind of one of those serendipity type of things. Serendipity doodah.
So I got a question. I know you obviously have a lot on your plate already because you've got the Kickstarter, you got the toy line, it's already in existence. You're doing the comic, everything like that. When I was reading the new issues, the first thing that popped into my head was this would make a great animated series. Is that something you've ever thought about or like are looking into or anything like that?
Yeah, so I feel like our job right now is, in my opinion, I'm a bias, but I think we're making great comics and great action figures. I feel like our job right now is awareness and making brain undeniable, so that way it'll be easy to pitch to prospective, animation companies. I want to get to the point where, like, studios are like, why haven't we optioned this IP yet? I want you to give me a reason why this hasn't been optioned yet. And so, our idea is to create seasons as story arcs in the comic book. So the first 5 issues is season 1, so on. The next 5 issues would be season 2, and continue on to that until we can actually have an actual animated series going for us.
That makes a lot of sense too. That's one of the things too. Like, kind of can hold up like an anime series. They got to do like a lot of filler arcs, just waiting for the comic to get more story out.
Right.
Where they can continue the story. Like Dragon Ball was notorious for that, and then with One Punch Man's got some of that too. Issues where they got to wait till the story gets caught up to where they can do the anime.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the thing is if we get something optioned, or when we do get it optioned, I would like to do like a show Bible where, like, all the characters' personalities and how they would deal with situations, like, all just mapped out. And so that way, whenever they have like something presented to them, they know how they would react to that situation. But I would like to be brought on, as a I don't know what it's called. I'd be an advisor on the series to make sure that everything's kind of following along the way we project the story to flow.
Yeah, I would definitely want to make sure when you do if that happens, do the contracts where you got some say-so in the story. And
right, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Don't start changing things. Like, hey, we're going to make Pale the villain.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So
we're going to do a twist. Pale's the villain.
Twist. I feel like the comics got a bunch of twists in it already, but, like, never underestimate, a studio's desire to kind of put their fingerprints on it, and that doesn't always necessarily translate to a good thing. So
exactly.
I want to have.
They're like, oh, we want to make it ours instead. Then why'd you license something?
Right. Yeah, and that translates to everything. It could be a car company where, I don't know about y'all, but I remember, like, the Mustang the last thing got neutered in the early 90s. It just, like, it went from, like, being this muscle car to, or the 80s, I should say, almost like a sedan. And I was just like, I got my kid and I know this is not cool. Like the same thing with most recently, like the Jeep Cherokee was like this kind of muscle Jeep, like real boxy and kind of tough look. And now it looks like a minivan. So it's not just, it's not just with creative stuff. It's just one of those things where, like, whenever, like, a new person comes in, they kind of want to put their stamp on it. It just doesn't always translate to a good thing. It could be, though. So
we don't need any more Dragon Ball evolutions.
Yeah, you know what? I watched 2 episodes of Dragon Ball, and I probably just watched 2 bad episodes, but, like, it was Frieza and Goku just talking the whole time, and Goku was, like, powering up, like, putting up this power bomb behind his back, and at the end of the episode, he, like, throws it, and, like, there's this, like, nuclear explosion, and I was like, wow, that was cool. He destroyed him, he distracted him, and then, like, the opening episode is, like, the smoke's clears, and Frieza's just like, that did nothing to me, and I was, like, immediately changing the channel. I was like, nope, we're not doing this. But I'm sure, I mean, it's obviously a great series. I just picked it up at the wrong time.
Well, that Namek arc, they drug that out so long. It was like,
my God, I was like, I can't take it.
There's a fan edit. Sorry, going on a tangent on that, but there's a fan edit online. It's Team 4-Star. They make a comedy edit of it. They condense everything down. It just flows so much faster.
That's cool. Speaking of that, like, in the mid 2000s, I guess, Topher Grace did a fan edit of the Phantom Menace, and it was really good. Like, Trade Federation's voices got replaced with, like, an alien, like these deep alien voices, and he edited out Jar Jar as much as he could, and I think he edited the one lap and tightened everything so much. good. Damn, this is a good movie, and I've come to love Phantom Menace, but it's it's just an example that kind of came to mind of like fan edits.
I would imagine a fan edit of Phantom Menace would be about 27 minutes long.
You know what? I think it was, to be fair, I think it was probably like 90 minutes. So, but
and look, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, but
me too, dude. I got Star Wars tattoos, so
yeah. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I grew up on it, but that movie is still to this day. While there's, first of all, I think it has, out of everything Star Wars, the best score of any movie. Period. It also has Jar Jar Binks,
right?
I will have to say though, Jar Jar was added in the market for kids. It worked. I remember being in the aisles, little kids, Jar Jar Binks, Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, to be fair, that movie kind of came out when like all the Gen Xers were like, like we were. I know I was like I think I was a senior in high school and just felt like I knew it all and I was real jaded. And The Matrix had just come out, so like that was like real dark and edgy. And then the Lord of the Rings like came out too. Like there was like all these kind of like dark, edgy stuff, like fan, like nerd stuff that was just like real, like not kid stuff. So like, I've come to love those movies, like the prequel movies. I am still like butthurt about the sequel trilogy. I haven't kind of like warmed up to that yet, but I guess as time passes. Man, that was interesting. Like the sequels was very interesting. I felt like it was like creative teams like throwing grenades into each other's trenches and being like, okay, have fun, type of thing. So
from my understanding, they had an original outline for the movies. Then Roundhead Johnson decided to go, I'm doing my own thing and destroying the entire thing in the middle.
Yeah, man, that was not cool. Like he should have just stayed. He just should have.
Luke wasn't supposed to die.
Right. I was like, man, what's going on?
The story behind it is J.J. Abrams outlined all three films. He did the first one, and they were supposed to stick to that outline for the second two.
I don't understand why he didn't just direct the middle one. I don't get it.
They were going to have a different director do each one. It was going to be him, Rian Johnson, and I believe the third one was supposed to be what's his name, Trevorrow. I'm blanking on his first name.
Park or Jurassic World.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, he was going to do the third one. They had lined this up, and everybody had talked to J.J. Abrams, and this is the story we're going to go with, and it just everything that then everything went to crap in the second movie, and we're left with what everyone I think considers the worst of anything Star Wars that exists. But that kind of brings me to some other stuff. So like, I'm just curious because I know you talked about the stuff you were into and stuff. So like going back to what got you to the point to where you wanted to start doing your own comic, like what kind of stuff, what franchises and what toys and what comic books and things like that, what movies did you love, what kind of got you to the point to where you were like, I want to do this thing. What in other words, what I'm asking is, what kind of geek were you growing up?
So you've read the original comic book and you've started reading the new comic books, and so to you, I don't think this will be any surprise, but I really liked The Island of Dr. Moreau. I loved 2001. I remember these are kind of like very kind of like not famous animes, but there's an anime called Lensman that I really enjoyed.
Oh, I love Lensman. I read the original books.
Which
I don't know if you ever read those.
Fantastic. You know what? I didn't read the manga, but I did read. I did really love the cartoon. That was like my first.
Well, they're a series of books from the 1950s. And the
right, Lensman, it was a major inspiration for Star Wars, right? Like I know Star Wars,
absolutely.
George Lucas and Lensman were like,
George Lucas stole a bunch from the original Lensman books. Yeah,
it's funny. It's I kind of consider it like it's not. I don't consider it stealing. It's just a genre.
Oh no, I don't either.
It's like a space opera type of thing.
He took inspiration from where he found it growing up, as we all do. I just
right. Yeah.
I don't think it's wrong
I've
at
only
all.
read the first
what he did was
books,
great.
Oh God, yeah. I mean,
everything
obviously
now,
grew up loving Star Wars.
There's such much out there now. Lore is built ingrained into us. We're reading. There's stuff that's going to inspire us to do whatever we write from now on. It's like,
right, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I was an only child, so like I would always, I would, and I was dyslexic, so like I wouldn't always read like the bios for like G.I. Joe. Like I kind of knew their names and stuff, and I'd watch the cartoon. But I mean, I grew up watching, I don't like to say Masters of the Universe. I grew up watching He-Man and Thundercats and Ninja Turtles and but like movies I loved, like Blade Runner and Predator, Terminator. I like Terminator 1 better than Terminator 2. I know that's like not the normal opinion, but just something so appealing about like the first Terminator. And Terminator 2 is obviously amazing too, but I like the kind of dark noir type movies. I loved Highlander. Stuff like that growing up, very influential. I'm trying to think of like books type stuff. I was very interested in what was going on like during the Cold War. Like we kind of like had the tail end of the Cold War in the late 80s and 90s, so but I remember like hearing like sonic booms and stuff going over the houses whenever like they would do the those like those big bomber runs, like hearing that and reading Alas Babylon, stuff like that. I saw something about the Terminator, French houses bomb. Yeah, I do love Terminator. I enjoyed Aliens is a huge influence. The second installment of Aliens, in my headcanon, there's only 2 Alien movies, and the second one is my favorite. There's a featurette at the end of the DVD of Aliens that's like 3+ hours long about James Cameron's like the making of process, and it's very, to me as a creator, it's very inspirational because at the beginning of the production, like he had so many different, all the craftsmen and stuff were like fighting him, and then by the second act of like the making the movies, they finally like understood his vision and stuff. So that kind of stuff's really inspirational and cool to watch, especially while you're like kind of struggling along and grinding it out, trying to do stuff on your own. Now I've got the luxury of having this great team that like we all work together and we respect each other, and I think we all really check our egos at the door. Like we're just kind of like, oh hey, is there something wrong? Let me know. If there's like, can this be improved? Let me know. And because we all tend to work that way, where we're just like, we trust each other to like try to make the product as best we can. There's something that's like very liberating about being like, okay, I know one of them's gonna like catch something. If I'm like going way off on this tangent, they'll kind of like rein me back in and be like, hey, listen, X, Y, and Z needs to be tweaked or adjusted, or that kind of stuff's like really cool. Now we've got like, I feel like not like I'm the art director, but now we've got like this group that like really enjoys each other's company and helps each other, make a great product. I actually don't mind. I actually thought which was Genesis? Was Genesis the one with where they had like the old Terminator? I don't remember.
Yeah, Genesis is not the newest one, but the one before it, where they kind of redo the story and they recast Sarah Connor with what's her face, Khaleesi from Game of Thrones, and they recast.
I thought she did good, but the guy that played Kyle Reese, I like him as an actor, but like I didn't think Kyle Reese should be like a buff, like well nourished character. Like I thought. Yeah, Michael Biehn was just absolutely perfect for it. He was like kind of scrawny and stressed out, like he had that like 1,000-yard stare dialed in, so.
Quinn, you gotta go.
Wait. The one with Christian Bale was good. I really liked the one with Christian Bale. That one was really good.
Salvation was good because
it was good, dude.
I think was the natural next step for Terminator, in that, okay, we got the time travel story and Sarah Connor and John Connor. We got that. Yeah. So that's where that part of the story should have ended. And the only other story really to tell in the universe without rehashing everything is the story of how John Connor rose to be the leader of the Resistance, which is what it's what that movie was supposed to be. It was originally laid out to be a trilogy of movies telling that story. And, we got the first movie, and I guess it just didn't do well enough at the movies, so they never finished the trilogy, which I always thought was a shame because I really liked it. I mean, it's not as good as 1 or 2, but
of course, I really enjoyed it.
It was, I think that I'm like that is the next story you should tell. Okay, so we've done the story back in modern times.
Makes sense.
We got a toy questions. Like later on, have you thought about doing any kind of like vehicles type accessories or anything? Like
all the mechs?
Yes. So like vehicles and stuff is, in today's world, it's a risk because it's it's a bigger product. So I think something, I'll go ahead and say like play sets are just like not something that I'm interested in. It's not that I wouldn't love it, but like I feel like the dio makers in today's toy world are so much better at doing that type of stuff. I much rather rely on that. But as far as like vehicles and steeds and stuff, I feel like we'd have to be in like year 5 of having product before we kind of think about doing that. And if we've got a cartoon and stuff like that to like really back it, then there's really no reason not to, because we've done the work. Like there's really cool little steeds and vehicles in the comics right now. So it's something that I hope for, but right now it's just too risky to do that type of thing.
Speaking of, I know it's not with the future plant. If there is a future, we can get, there's a cartoon coming. Like, would you like to try to get these things out on retail shelves or?
Yeah, so like the goal is to, Derek always says, Derek's our head of sales. He always says like, we're not building a toy line, we're building a brand. So, I feel like we'll have reached our ultimate goal is, having Animal Warriors of the Kingdom at retail. You'll be able to go to Walmart or Target or wherever and just essentially easily be able to pick up the line and collect the line. Or you can order it online at Big Bad or Amazon or however the shopper wants to shop. The idea is having it readily available and for the brand to have like market saturation where, it's, I would love it to be a household name. I know that's very difficult right now because we've got like all these 30 and 40-year-old IPs, but I try to say it as often as I can, but I'm all about nostalgia and love nostalgia, but it's so important to keep introducing new IPs and new ideas because, that's great. But the culture will dwindle and kind of die on the vine if we don't keep introducing and evolving and having new things to pass on to our next generation and our kids and everything. So that's my goal.
So what you're saying is like the end goal is one day I can walk into Walmart and have like a Lego Chunar cityscape that I can build with like the Citadel in the middle of it.
I mean, oh my God. I feel like, if Lego's going to option it, I mean, come on, that would be insane.
That would be great. I would love to see. You could have the Crash Citadel right in the middle of the city. That'd be great.
Right? Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to know, like when people read the old school, like the Citadel is like the floating city. It kind of like moves around in the original.
And Rick's something that's like my ears perked. Like,
Rick heard us talking about him.
No, I think it's a great line. I mean, it is very rare, I think, that, like I said, whether it's a comic or a toy line, in this case, both, that comes along. And I know the comic goes back to like 2013, but I mean, the new kind of version, and I'm sure it doesn't feel this way for you, but for a lot of people out there, it feels like fairly new, fairly quick. It hasn't been around very long. We're just getting the comics, that kind of thing.
And that's the way it should be. Like you always hear the saying, like every overnight success took 10 years to create, and we're right on track. We're that's about the timeline that we're on, so we did our last Kickstarter in 2020, 2021, and I started the comic in 2011. So, but we didn't get product out until 23. So, I think we're just like a little over a year. We're into our second year of having the product, And so now like that kind of resets my timeline where like I know it takes about 3 years nowadays for like indie toy lines to kind of really catch on and start to saturate, like start to become a household name or an online name as far as like brands go.
Well, it's really picking up momentum right now. It's like it's that when they first come out, it's like, oh, these look cool. It's like kind of in passing now. It's like
right.
When's the next wave coming out?
It's been so cool to see people's reception at the booths, you know, where people they'll see it online and then they see it in person. And they're like, oh, I get it. This is cool. And then they get to pick up the toys and they feel the value in the toys. And we've got stuff on display for them to kind of play around with and enjoy the figure. And they're like, okay, I've been on the fence. This is really cool. I'm going to go ahead and get it now. And I can't tell you how many times, like at a convention, people will get like several of them, you know?
That's what I was going to say too. Is like once you have these in hand, you can feel the quality of them. Your factory, your factory is doing an amazing job putting in a really high quality product. The team, the design, and all is doing a really excellent job. The in your marketing is doing an excellent job as well. It's like you're getting
they're kicking ass. Like Brick and Adam are doing a great job,
and especially the design team too. Because I can't tell you how many times a new line comes out, and in the first wave or 2 waves or 3 waves or whatever it is, you know, they always hold back. You know, you don't get all the articulation or you don't get all the accessories or something. I mean, even McFarlane's done this. He did it when he first started doing the DC Multiverse stuff. He held back on things. Right. And to have a toy line come out that just, I think, it's got everybody talking, knocks it out of the park, both with the source material and the figure. I mean, the figures as they come out, like, they feel like something that's been around for a long time. It doesn't feel like this is the full release. You know what I mean?
Well, you know, I know exactly what you mean, and thank you. That's what we're going for. Like, you know, I had mentioned there was that period of time where I kind of stopped collecting toys and watching cartoons and stuff, and now, you know, people will mention like the biker mice and stuff like that, where like I wasn't really into quote unquote geek culture as much at that period, and so I wanted to feel like oh, hey, I missed out on this in like the early 2000s, late 90s. You know, I was like, oh, and I get to like. Now I'm gonna like discover it for the first time, even though it is a brand new product. But yeah, I mean, it's something that should feel new, but also a little nostalgia at the same time. You know,
it's such a great line with the design is the anthropomorphic characters is one of those things that really
something so fun about that. You know,
it's just so many popular lines. It's been that you've had the turtles, you've had what you just mentioned, the biker mice from Mars, you've had. Well, they're just bringing back Street Sharks.
Yeah, I saw that. I wish they weren't just doing like total just a reissue. I'm guessing if they're going to do something, they're going to do the reissue and see how that does, and then they'll go ahead and do the redesigns or like something similar. But I mean, I get it. It's they're kind of like following the origins.
They're totally like Origins figures with the same type of articulation.
Right. And they're fun. They look really cool, but it's like, you know, it's essentially just like a reissue with added articulation. And I mean, I'm guessing that's their strategy, you know, to kind of do.
I think they're a little gun shy with doing like a Masterverse again, because.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, no, I get it. I get it.
Yeah. The Origins has been outselling Masterverse 2 to 1, if not more. And
dude, I love Mastersverse. I don't know about y'all, but I just got. Let me grab it real quick. Hold that thought.
We're holding.
I feel like this is like they finally nailed like this is like the quintessential He-Man from the Mastersverse line. You know, like
following that one, yeah.
I got it in. I pre-ordered, forgot about it. It showed up early. Got it in. I was like, holy crap, this is so good. My only slight nickname
has a good hip
power sword, but I mean, I've got plenty of power swords. Mm-hmm. But I liked it so much that I immediately ordered another one so that I could have the classic metal bra. What is that called? Because I keep calling it a bra, and I feel like it's like a harness, kind of a back-ended comment, but it's not. It's totally not meant to be. I just don't know what it's called. You know, I guess like straps. I don't know.
It would be like a harness, chest harness.
Yeah, harness. Thank you. Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna keep calling it the metal bra. Just because I think it's funny.
It's the bro.
It's so funny because it offers like just like zero protection. You know, I feel like they would just like We can't have this dude running around shirtless, you know?
Okay,
like,
someone else
slap straps on him.
Referencing Seinfeld, the man, there's the man's ear.
Man's ear. Man's ear, baby.
Well, so that gets me into another topic, which is obviously outside of the stuff that you're making. Like, what other like modern toy lines are you picking stuff up from?
So I would say that my favorite right now is it's a tie between Masterverse and the G.I. Joe Classified series. Is just so freaking good. That's for like mainstream stuff, and then like indie stuff, I would say is like hands down, you know, the Four Horsemen kind of knock it out of the park with their Mythic and Cosmic Legion stuff. I don't know if I guess NECA isn't considered indie anymore, but I've recently kind of got into their last run and stuff, but I'm just picking and choosing as far as that goes. And I've started to like really kind of fall back in love with the Marvel Legends comic stuff. Like for the longest time, I was just getting the movie stuff, and like, you know, I just got this set, and you know, this is the only Legends Wolverine that I had until I got the 2-pack. But like, dude, I feel like Marvel Legends is like rediscovering their comic roots, and that's really exciting.
Well, it's what I've always
wanted to do a ton of Marvel Legends, so I mean, I gotta check out what else they're working on, you know.
For the longest time, they were sinking all their budget into the MCU figures and not really putting any money into the comic book figures. And,
right, exactly. And you know what? I think
now we're getting some love for the comic book stuff.
Exactly. You know, I think Eternals was like a major like turning point for like their focus. They were kind of like, you know, just kind of having like home run after home run, and whenever like the Eternals debacle happened, they were like, all right, let's kind of lean back into the comic stuff, and I think that's so much better for them, you know. They still have to deal with like I said, I love Star Wars, but like you got a bunch of like guys just kind of like running around in garbage, you know, like what's it called, like overalls, you know, like all the new stuff, it's like everyone's either like a Jedi and robes and stuff. I mean, all the bad guys look cool, obviously, but you know, a lot of the characters are kind of, they aren't visually compelling, but you know, they're good characters. Like Luke Skywalker's an amazing character, but there's only so many Darth Vaders and Luke Skywalkers you can offer before it starts to get a little monotonous, you know.
Yeah. See, I still gravitate towards the smaller scale Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, dude, I love the 4-inch scale figures. And I kind of see them as like
G.I. Joe and Star Wars.
Yeah, it's almost like you know, like what's it called? It's almost, I say like the bell bottom, where like the bell bottom or the boot cut comes back in style and then goes out of style. And right now, I feel like the 4-inch might be making a comeback, because the HasLab stuff, all their vehicles for Star Wars have been the 4-inch scale. So
yeah. And I mean, that's a big selling point. That's one reason why I like collecting those, is because of the fact that I can get vehicles and ships and things like that,
right,
that you just can't get with 6-inch scale stuff. And if you do, it's, you know, it can be very, very expensive to do. So what is this?
I'm laughing at Adam's giving me notes. Dude, oh my God, I'm so upset that I didn't get that. Like, I got the His Tank, and the His Tank's freaking awesome. And then I was like, I'll just get the VAP. Is it VAMP or VAP?
Vamp.
How do you pronounce that? Vamp. Yeah, I was like, I'll just pick it up when I want to, and then it sold out. So,
well, they already strongly imply they're going to do the Stinger, and more like they'll reissue the Vamp too, because it was such a success. Yeah. It's like $100 for that vehicle and a figure. That's like,
right, dude. It's freaking awesome. Yeah, Tiffany's asking about birds. One of the reasons this Kickstarter is so important is because we're getting different body types out of it. So like, you know, once that bird gets unlocked, it's going to open up so much potential for different kind of birds. I mean, there's like, you know, there's a whole, just a plethora of amazing bird animal characters that we can do once that gets unlocked. And I think once we show off the sculpt for Raving, I've seen like 80% blocked out, and he just looks badass. I can't wait to have that as a toy. Like all these, I'm like, you know, I've got like such like distinct visions. Like my vision, it's like everything's already done. It's just a matter of like following the process to get there. And I'm just like, man, these are going to be such fun toys. And I think a lot of people are going to be, you know, by the time they come out, they'll be discovering all the other stuff we did before. And they'll be able to very easily kind of work this stuff into their existing collections. And, you know, we're doing the Bushido line, which is our Dan's Samurai line, where we offer like Samurai and what's the other thing, Oni. So we're doing all kind of fun stuff in the background.
Well, like what she's Mythic Dolphin was saying is like, all these different. If are the wings, like you said, they're going to be. The goal is to have them detachable and.
Right. So the idea right now is for them to be very similar to the comic version of Falcon, which is an awesome figure, Marvel Legends Falcon figure, or kind of similar to the bird characters from the Power Rangers, that army builder.
So if you interchange when you do the troop builders in different color wing, if you could do different color
wings, that's a great idea. Yeah, totally.
That would be really cool. Like we'll just mix and match and like have all kinds of unique warriors.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, absolutely.
Mythic Dolphin, the AWOK wings are part of the arms, not separate pieces.
Well, you know, Dan said that they might be attached, but we're kind of hoping that the factory can figure out a way where they can like take the wings off. We'll see. It's so early in the design process. It's hard to like really hold us, you know, don't take it as gospel just yet, but like we're kind of hoping they'll be removable.
Touch back on another question was talking about the vehicles in the future. You were saying like if that is possible, it's like wave 5 or later. And
right. I mean, you know, to be frank, we've got what's it called? We've got a steed design as well as a horde like hover like mech thing design as well. So
I just lost part of my lights.
Ew.
Power supply burn out. But have you thought about doing other types of dogs and cats, different breeds? And you got the bulldog coming out, and
yeah, I mean, so you know, now that we've kind of opened up the door with the bulldogs, we'll be doing different style dogs. I've got 2 Goldens and I've got 4 cats, so I obviously love those 2 animals. I'm kind of surprised. The bulldog
body really allows itself to be a Rottweiler right off the bat too.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's you know, who doesn't love dogs, right? I mean, it's funny because like I feel like everyone loves dogs, but not everyone loves cats, and I love them equally.
People I don't want to know. That's who don't like dogs.
Right. Yeah, someone's mentioning the NECA wings on the gargoyles. It's funny because the reason I haven't jumped into the gargoyles is because I don't know how to display them on the shelves with those giant wings.
Well, they kind of correct it, shift a little bit. They start offering with the human characters, you can get alternate folded down wings to like drape like a cape.
Yeah, I think that's a good move. Like, I'm in a weird position because I'm a creator and I'm a fan as well. So like I try to like keep both feet in those 2 worlds.
Totally makes it. That's what's kept a lot of people out of that line too, is because all the wings are out. That's a lot. I mean,
they're awesome. Yeah, it's just like the thing is like you could do 1 on the shelf, but it's like once you get into 2, then it gets problematic if you don't have that cape, you know.
Corgi win.
Adam, I thought you didn't like corgis. I would actually like to have, like me, I would like to personally have a corgi. Like we've got 2, like both of our dogs are like over 100 pounds. They're like freakishly big Goldens. So like having a smaller dog would be nice. In addition, I don't want to get rid of the other 2.
So the character would be short, a big butt, and a big attitude.
Pretty much, yeah. I've never had a corgi. They just look cute, and I know they like to sleep on your feet. So I'm like, that sounds like a win-win, you know?
Road rovers.
It's so funny. Like my cats, like they have to sleep on me, and like some of them don't like each other, so they'll like sleep on me in shifts. They'll like tag out. They're like, all right, one's clocking out, and the other one's clocking in. They're like, ugh, get out of here, you know.
And speaking of, we got the new feline that just unlocked.
Yeah, we unlocked Jessa, which is a Feralist army builder and an homage to my grandmother. So we're super excited about that. I need to talk to Dan. We need to try to figure out a way to get her pistols holsters working on there. So it might be slightly modified.
Power restored. But do the incorporating like is that your grandmother's name, that Jessa?
So her name was Jessie. Yeah, Jessie Bienvenu. So she was 103 when she died.
That is great, Bill, to incorporate her your grandmother's name into the line, and
thanks. Yeah, I thought it was a fun homage, you know.
Each new AWOK comes with 20 anthropomorphic tardigrades. Or psyllium and
you know, someone asked about smaller figures or like how insects would work in, and you know, if you read the first comic book, there's a character that's basically like a golem of like insects. So I want to reintroduce all of those characters, and so that's the idea. Like if you see, like, it won't be like a big, you know, 6 foot tall bug. It'll be like an amalgamate, like a mixture of like a bunch of smaller bugs that kind of create a hive mind.
Any chance of Riki making a comeback?
Well, he's was Riki the bird? I don't remember now.
He's the rat or mouse or whatever he was.
I love that character. Yeah, most likely. The idea is to reintroduce all of those characters. We were just slowly trying to figure it out.
I loved his character because he was just like the perfect companion for Pale in that.
Oh yeah, like he was kind of like Pale's Jiminy Cricket.
Yeah, exactly, and it was just a great character. I don't know how you do that in action figure form if you're going to keep him that small. He'd have to be like an accessory.
You know what? He won't be small like that. Like issue 5, we start to introduce like dwarf characters, so he would be a dwarf character. He wouldn't be that tiny.
Well, interesting, like where JB was mentioning, asked about like a bald eagle with the bird characters. If you do like larger birds of prey, would you do them later on? Would you do like a bigger buck later on, or would you stay with the avians on there as they are? Or
yeah, sorry.
Yeah, but
I'm trying to look at all the comments.
Oh yeah.
Hey, we're gonna do dog characters. We need a Chihuahua as well.
Yeah, I feel like he would fall into like the smaller dwarf characters.
Yeah.
For Endless Fables, we're doing so we had introduced everything digitally and physically at the same time for the comics, but now that they're in comic shops, we're not going to release a digital version of 5 until after the physical versions, you know, sold out.
Oh,
we'll be doing that with everything going forward.
Oh, that's one thing I was wanting to touch base on, like we mentioned, like I heard on the stream on Wednesday, as where your books are picked up by Diamond now, been distributed by Diamond.
Yeah, they're distributed. Yeah, they're through Diamond. Yeah, exactly, which is awesome. We did like a test run in March for issue 1, but issue 2 won't start until May, and then we'll like have monthly releases after that.
Have you thought about other like distributors as well? There's 2 other ones out there right now. It's like
you know what? I would love to. I just don't know how to go about reaching out to them. If I could figure that out.
It's like with a local comic book shop here. He don't get stuff since the big 2 stopped using Diamond. So he went to Penguin Random House and Lunar.
Yeah, there's Penguin and Luna, but I don't know how to reach out to them. If we could figure that out, that would be fantastic.
Well, I could reach out to him. He's probably got their contact information.
Yeah, I would love that. That would be great.
Yeah, Lunar, their packing is immaculate. Like they will put the stuff in a box.
Yeah.
Put it up in bubble wrap and put it in another box.
Oh wow, that's exciting. That's really good to know. That's awesome.
And he was having so much issues with where he's a smaller shop. You don't have the big orders, so they don't.
Right. Yeah, that's a tough spot. Yeah.
They don't pack it really safely, and some of the other distributors, and when you hit them at certain price order, they pack it better.
Right.
And Lunar is free shipping for the comic book distributor.
Oh wow, that's cool.
So I know earlier you talked about, as far as, the storyline going forward and where you're trying to evolve it to. You talked about, maybe bringing in more human characters and things like that.
Right. Yeah.
Like, again, getting all involved in it and speculating about everything. Like, have you thought about, like, there may be obviously other, human arcs that were sent out on other planets that, that these characters could interact with, that would, essentially be viewed as aliens at that point.
Yeah, we've got the second story arc all mapped out. We actually mapped out both story arcs at the same time. Like, we mapped out 10 issues. And Utoma and I discussed like what elements we want to introduce right out the gate for the first story arc, and then what characters we want to hold back and stuff for the second, hold it off to the second one. So, we've already got human action figures designed for the second story arc. So we're definitely going to be seeing several humans and having human action figures.
That's going to be exciting to see, because your design team's just phenomenal, and like what you can knock out with it.
Yeah, I feel like they really knock it out of the park. All the main characters from the original comic book, I designed all of that, and then, Utoma put his awesome style and we reimagined a lot of the stuff, and then I gave my notes and whatnot. But some of this new stuff's just like brand new, like we talked about before. Usually I like to have the character in the comic book and then introduce it as a toy, but some of the birds, like the two newest birds, we just kind of I came up with the ideas on the fly, and then Utoma did an interpretation of my ideas. So we're still developing the concepts for them as the Kickstarter is going.
Well, Mythic Dolphins, if everyone was backing the Epic All In currently, Mamba would already be unlocked. Epic All In.
Yeah, that's a good point.
$300.
I think we figured out that the savings on the All In. Which one did she say that? Oh, the Epic All In. So the Epic All In, I think the savings, if I'm not mistaken, is $200+. I don't know what the savings are for the Epic All In, but it's probably double that. So it's a really good value. It's just our way of thanking everyone for kind of backing the initial Kickstarter. All these. Even the single price figures, there's a discount for those, but everything's going to be slightly more expensive whenever everything's available for retail. So, backing the Kickstarter does let you get everything first, as well as getting a discount from the retail price.
It's a hell of a value of just doing the Epic All In. You get everything.
Right. Exactly. Excuse me.
So I got a question that's probably inconsequential, but I've got a little internal debate in my head. Hannibal's son, how do you pronounce his name?
Atreyu.
See, that's what I thought.
Yeah, there's Atreyu and Tiberius are his sons.
Okay. That's what I was curious, because, when I hear Atreyu, and that's what I saw when I saw it, the first thing I thought of was Neverending Story from
You mean
way
you didn't
back.
think of the Rock Band? No, I'm joking. Yeah, so there's Atreyu from the Neverending Story, and then there's Atreyu, the Rock Band. I like both of them, or I should say, I love both of them. I love those Sphinx statues in the '80s. As a kid, you were just "Hello." I'm gonna rewind this part.
How they articulate it says, All In saves you around $80, and Epic.
There we go.
It's $350.
That's what it was. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Adam.
And
I think I'm gonna have to hop off soon. Was there any more questions in the chat that we missed?
Before we go, we can take a look at the current status of the.
Yeah, let's check it out.
We'll go up top.
You have to hit refresh. Hopefully, it's going up. Let's see. I haven't refreshed it since, but that's what it was the last time. So we're at 213,000. We're more than halfway to 214. Which means when we hit 214, we'll have 6,000 to unlock the last of the Speedster Bucks, which is the Horde Assassin Army Builder. And I anticipate we'll get another little bump after that guy gets unlocked. As soon as he's unlocked, we'll add that as an additional add-on.
This one was one of the ones that really I love the design of. Is the
Thank you so much. Yeah, and essentially, 90% of that armor is removable. So if you want like a almost nude buck, you can do that with that one. The Gresh, which is right underneath him, you can remove literally all of his armor. So if you want to have just like a nude chameleon, you can do that, or Snake Man, So and those are both go great in your Masterverse.
I was talking about that last night. It's like, heck, you could troop build this for Snake.
Oh yeah, totally, exactly, yeah. And
it's just fantastic head sculpts, and you got the tongue chain here, and would possibility of actual tongue or.
He's gonna have a spitting acid effect that plugs into his mouth.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
So like a Cobra Khan type thing.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
That's cool. So we got
my favorite is the one that I backed was the.
That's a cool. I did not know that, Tiffany. That's cool.
Yeah, I backed the Hannibal Kali Prime 2-pack.
I think that's that's what I would like to refer to as a banger.
Yeah, that's
two really cool figures, and that weapon set's going to go great with like the Hulk or.
Oh yeah, and those figures look phenomenal. Those two figures look awesome.
And as soon as this unlocked, I had to get this one too. I love that one.
I mean, come on, how fun is that guy? I cannot wait to have the toy of him. I'm
super excited. I want more now because he's all the heads unlocked. You got a great troop builder there.
Right, exactly. All the reptiles heads, all their mouths open and closed. So, if you see a picture with their mouths closed, it's just how we decided to display it.
All the different heads that's unlocked now, those look really so cool.
Yeah, and you can expect those. Like, we'll offer different type of lizards and stuff. So, like, now that we've got the reptile buck done, we'll be offering different kind of lizards going forward. The same with the birds, So we've got some good stuff going on.
And the lion, Hannibal.
I like Hannibal's big things. Wild.
Is that Mace the scale, or is it the?
It's slightly too big. It's slightly smaller than that. Yeah, I made it too big.
It's gonna be.
But it's not much smaller than that. It's huge. It's a double-handed weapon for sure.
Definitely don't want to be hit by that. It's like with these designs too.
No,
you think about the
not even with the toy.
Do what? Oh.
Yeah, even though toy, you don't want to be hit with that.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Though with these designs too really work well too. Like you think back to like the 2011 Thundercats rebooted series. They had more.
I thought that was so good. I love that reboot. I thought it was great. The way that cartoon, it's funny. Like at the time, dude, like no joke. Like at the time, I felt like that's where action cartoons went to die. Like Cartoon Network. Like if you weren't like Adventure Time or you go that far.
You weren't Ed and Eddie. You weren't Ed and Eddie. You weren't going to survive.
What was it? Regular show. All that stuff. If you weren't that, they would like just kill the show. Like, the first half of the season, like 8 to 9 or something.
They would move that show all the time.
The same with like Justice League. Like I was just so fed up with Cartoon Network at the time. Like whenever that network went belly up, I was like, no, please don't stop. Like I was just kind of like, I'm still salty about it. So.
Oh, anytime they get something really good, the Mike Young 2000X He-Man series,
dude, that was so good.
They would always move them to different time slots and never advertise it. That they're moving.
I think it's because they really just hated that kind of storytelling and cartoon style.
They just want the simplified Ed and Eddie, the regular show, like you said, and they want that.
Right, and those cartoons are very fun. Yeah, those cartoons are very fun, but there's obviously room for both, and I just felt like they didn't agree with that.
Yep. And
now they're gone.
Of course, those tough shows too are a lot more expensive to produce than the.
Of course, yeah.
We got
Yeah, but look at all those cool accessories they come with, and they're all going to come with additional hands. We need to make a note that we need additional hands. Oh, I'm surprised the cats finally showed up. They come with alternate hands and alternate heads as well. We just haven't added them yet.
How many sets of hands will the 3 guys come with?
A total of 3 sets of hands.
Oh, it was really cool. Like, plus, like, you guys are doing it right too. You're giving melee weapon characters vertically hinged hands, so that you can actually pose it properly.
Right. Yeah. And you know what? Classified does a great job of that. Masterverse is finally doing it. Look at his vertical hand. Like they finally were like, hey, you know what? We've been forgetting something. Let's do that. And they got it. They better late than never, right? So I'm very happy about that.
You get
my animals are they're having a mutiny. I have to feed them. I've got one of my orange tabby. He's just like just kind of like just trying to sabotage me right now. Hey, come on, son.
Orange cat mentalities there.
Yeah, very much. I'm gonna feed.
We got the alternate head unlocked. When do these get to unlock?
They're unlocked now. We're gonna upload 2D artwork first. I thought it looked great. It's just I have to color it on my end.
Got you. The new female bucks are so nice too.
Thank you. We're so happy we get to finally do female figures. She's the last figure that like I needed to kind of complete the trilogy of the main characters. So like once we have her in hand, I'll be like, okay, major like life achievement in my opinion checked off. And then Jadu's such an important character in the comic book. We got to have her as well. So 2 main female characters from the story are going to be action figures now, which is really exciting. Their additional heads have been unlocked. So, you'll be able to do kind of sort of like army build them a little bit, but not really, but they'll have really cool alternate looking heads. So, oh boy, here we go, Cat.
One question with the Wave 1 figures, like with Pale and those the main characters that got released then, you've updated. These are all going to be pinless going forward. Is there any thought when they redo like some of the main characters as pinless? Which I don't mind pins myself, but I know a lot of people like.
Yeah, we'll probably slowly reintroduce stuff. Like we've got variants of Pale and Atreyu in Wave 4, so those will have pins. But the next time we do variants of those, they'll have pinless bodies. Hopefully, that's the goal. It'll probably be something kind of similar to Marvel Legends, where they still have some figures with pins. But the goal is to eventually phase those out.
It's like with the Herc, you got no pins on the leg, you got pins on the arm.
I don't mind the pin bodies, but I do know that like fans requested it.
I'm a customizer, so I kind of like having pins so I can take them apart and paint them.
It does make it very convenient.
It's kind of hard to disassemble a pinless figure to paint it.
Right, exactly, yeah. And that was kind of one of the decisions about doing it with pins the first go around. That and obvious the like reuse potential. So
we got your speedsters, we got the Kanji and Boone. We got Assassin's Weapon sets, and we're getting close to unlock the Horde Assassin.
We're so close. We're like 6K away, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's exciting. Yeah. Hopefully by the end of the weekend, we'll have our last character from the initial launch unlocked, and then we can kind of sail on through to unlocking the new stuff that, the alternate heads. And then this is already unlocked. This is already included with the Epic All-In, and you can add it as a add-on. It's a Kickstarter exclusive or an event exclusive. It's available on the Kickstarter, and then whatever stock we have left, we will sell it at comic conventions, and that's it. I mean, we can't stop people from selling it on eBay. That's obviously out of our control. As far as from us, we won't be, selling it on the website, and it won't be on like retailer sites unless it's like, a used figure.
Yeah, I saw this on the Facebook group, and
yeah, I gave that to Adam this weekend.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Thank you.
I was last time I was looking at it, you didn't have the weapons on here, and you updated.
Right, I actually added the weapons. I think it was either this morning or last night. I don't remember now. Everything's kind of a haze. We're like in the middle of the Kickstarter. Everything's so crazy right now.
So you're on Mad Rush too, with all
That's
of
for sure. That's for sure.
In the world tour too, on all the everybody's channels and talking about this stuff. And 200 with the bard is so cool. It's like made a cardinal a bard. That's so.
He was fun, right? Like I was trying to decide if it was going to be like a parrot, a rooster, or like a songbird, and I was like, let's do the cardinal. That sounds fun, you know.
The problem is though, my little dog, she hates birds.
Oh, really? Dude, what's fun? Like I remember when I was a kid, we had this calico cat, and she like ran outside and caught 2 blue jays, and I was just like mortified. I was like, no, I hurt the blue jays.
I just had to throw a robin over the fence that day.
The robin was just like, how dare you, sir?
My dog will, as Doug Mercado would say, my dog will kill. But we get the skating. Well, last time I looked at we just had a silhouette, and we got the
right. Yeah, we updated that this morning. Yeah, I love his. I love that bone whip. I've been wanting to do that accessory for a long time. I was thinking about doing it with the Horde Ravengers, but I felt like it needed to be more of like a just a standalone character, not an army builder. So it'll be fun to introduce that.
And haven't we be with a necromancer too? It's like
right. It's like it's on brand. So he'll probably come with like a little dagger of some sort as well. Just pack that in.
Is that like a skull on top with a green blade?
It is. Yeah, it's a little skull, and there's like a jewel type, in plant and encrusted into the top of the staff.
Such cool character designs.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited about this guy. I need to upload his weapons. I forgot to do that. Reminds me, I got to do his weapons, up the weapons. So we'll probably do that next. Yeah.
Okay, I gotta get a Brutox.
Me too, right? I mean, come on, that's cool.
I have a character.
Brick said Brick said I was gonna do it like Philippine ox, but he said he wants it to be an African ox. So I tell him, I was like, all right, we'll make him an African ox.
Well, I got my own character called Bruton. And now I got
sweet. Yeah, dude, that photo is so cool that you posted the comparison. Yeah, that's cool, man.
So I got Bruton and Brutox. We got to need to go together.
Right? Yeah, totally.
For this has got to happen. Come on, I want to have to go back some more stuff just so make sure this happens.
Dude, I mean, come on, like everyone's gonna like. I'm telling you, that's going to just work into everyone's collection, no matter if you have any AWOK figures. You know, this is like, to me, this is our Thane equivalent from the first Kickstarter. We were all like rooting for Thane, and we unlocked him on the last day. I think we might have unlocked him with like 2 hours to go, if I remember correctly. That was crazy.
I hope this gets unlocked, because this right here, I can see this being a hot item.
Right? I mean, come on, dude. That's a big old chunky boy.
You can have them in all kinds of sorts of battles, like you can have them battle.
Right, exactly. He's definitely like a boss level character.
Yep. And so the Alfredo said, "Okay, this stream is winning me over." And I was like, "Buy it now."
You work too hard not to treat yourself. Like, you should try out some AWOK figures. You just tip your toe on it into the Kickstarter and just select. I recommend, like, if you're on the fence, select one of the 2-packs, because you get like 2 figures and then you almost get a weapon set for free. So the value is like really built into that, and you don't have to pick the 2 that are in the reward. You can pick, you can mix and match.
And Alpha, I will tell you one thing that will push you over the edge too. Just order one of the regular figures. Once you have that in hand, you're going like, yeah, these are awesome. These are high quality figures.
Hand candy.
Yes, they're very durable and great articulation. And so they're perfect desk figures. You can sit here and just fiddle with them, and
right.
And we got the different tiers with the backings here. But that is the Kickstarter we got. Oh, and talk about the gladiatorial.
This will be out this summer. So there's our variants of the main characters we were talking about. I love that rusted shield effect. So cool.
That is so cool. That looks really nice. I like that.
So in the comic, they've kind of been given just like a kind of mismatch of weapons to fight in the arena. And same thing with their armor is kind of mismatched. Look at that 1/6 shooter goodness, man. He's such a great photographer. I was getting
ready to ask who your photographer was. He's doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, I mean, he's amazing. So good.
But all these really cool gladiatorial, and you got these troop builders coming out.
Yeah, so this is our first character with a moving mouth. So the lizards didn't quite beat him. First character with moving mouth is the Horde Gladiator Mongrel Squad.
I like the fact you're doing these multi-pack sets like this. This is really cool.
Yeah, we usually do that. We usually do those little specials for pre-orders, and then once they sell out those little bundles, then we'll just go back to offering the standard single figures. We are going to be bringing back AWOK Wednesdays probably after the Kickstarter wraps up, where there'll be like a sale, some sort of sale every Wednesday.
And like I said, these really work into the style wise too. If at 2000, if you like Thundercats, you like that 2011 series, these designs.
Sure, yeah, totally. Right, yeah, exactly, yeah. We'd love to. I mean, if Spero could do Thundercats, we would be head over heels.
Yeah, that would be an awesome brand to get. That's what somebody was asking about. If you could do a different license, thought about doing different licensed products or.
Yeah, we've got a wish list. We have a wish list, but I'd rather just not say until we have official stuff.
Right. I had somebody ask about a comic book series on the Discord. Let me find that question real quick.
I will say, I think the difference between this and Thundercats is, as somebody who grew up watching the original Thundercats, and I loved Thundercats, I like the story behind this better.
Thank you so much. That's a huge compliment.
I mean, and Thundercats was made, and look, I mean, Thundercats was made for kids, right? It was made to sell toys.
Right.
Yeah. And like I said before, this is something that doesn't feel like it was just, the comic doesn't feel like, the story doesn't feel like something that was just thrown together to sell a toy. It feels like the toys are, there as a part of a natural extension of a really well-told story.
Yeah.
The lockdowns were horrible, but the silver lining was, for me, I had just, 3 months to kind of stay at home and really flesh this out and think about it and try to just put a nice, neat bow on everything. And so I feel like, it gave me the opportunity to really make this as good as I could possibly do it. And then once we got the wind at our sails, it was just kind of off to the races.
That line that they were asking about, the name of Held on the Discord, was asking if it's like something called Autumn Lands.
I'm sorry, say again. What happened?
Autumn Lands. Somebody was asking about asking if you thought about that, if you ever thought about getting licensed products.
I don't even know what that is. I've got there's a set of stuff that I think is on brand for Spero. We want to do a mix of realistic stuff and cartoon.
Yeah.
We want to do characters that are going to lend themselves to really good articulation. So it'd have to be something where I don't have to do my homework on. It's just something that I already know and love. So that's kind of where we're going.
I would when you're talking about a dream about getting Thundercats, it's I would love to see.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Your stuff is so much better than the current holder of the license, and this is as far as the arms band. No, this is not Thundercats.
I love Super 7 stuff, but I think they built it off of that the Classics buck, which I love the Classics buck as well.
Yep. Which not everything needs to be on that buck, though.
I agree.
Well, I know there's some of us out there who would love to see a better company take over the DC line. So, I mean, that in mind.
People on top, but I think he's doing a good job. Like I've got I got the DC stuff when it first came out, and some of it I wasn't thrilled about, but I feel like they've really, really kind of hit their stride and improved a lot. So
I love McFarlane toys for a lot of things. One of my favorite lines is their Warhammer line. This is
such a cool figure. Oh my
God.
This figure is freaking awesome. Like, I mean, come on, that's like Quinn. Like, this is like ultimate Batman in my opinion. I think they like knocked it out of the park. So.
I just saw the private chat, but so I understand.
Yeah.
But we can go ahead and wrap this up, and thank you again for coming out and hanging out with us tonight. And
oh man, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
This is so awesome. It's like you're living the dream. You're doing what we all like. A lot of us would dream of be able to do is start our own toy line. And
I mean, I feel so blessed and lucky, and my dad's retired, so we had a lot to tell him. I was like, I know this seems crazy, but like, I feel like it's my calling, and I just got lucky enough to be able to actually, do it. Like we said, live the dream, so.
Mm-hmm.
But.
And I know many of us growing up, we would have dreamed doing that, and you're doing it. You put the effort out through there. Like I said, you had some learning, growing and learning from the first Kickstarter on, and
right.
You got an amazing team together now, and just
really do. Man, I feel so lucky. I feel like everyone in their role is kicking ass. So I can't thank them enough. It's really great. I did it essentially on my own for so long, and now I've got this great crew that's just amazing. I feel very, very lucky and blessed.
It's kind of getting to be like a golden age right now too. So many of these people are coming out with these really cool Kickstarters and trying to do their own lines, and just some
right. Yeah.
Stuff. It's almost like where we got to do the but we'll let you go. I just saw update on the private jets.
Well, we appreciate you coming, man. It was awesome, and
oh man, this was great. I'd love to come on again.
We'd love to have you.
Yeah, let me know, and we'll pop back in. Probably whenever we have our first big update for the Kickstarter, or maybe right before Joe Fest. Are y'all going to Joe Fest?
I've been wanting to go to Joe Fest, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to this year.
It's such a good convention. It's one of my favorite conventions. I highly recommend it. And it's not that far. It's in Augusta, which is otherwise known as South Carolina. So.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
yeah.
Well, thank you again. We appreciate it, and you go take care of business there, sir.
Literally, yeah. Cool deal. All right, I hope you have a great night. Have a happy Easter weekend, and I'll talk to y'all soon.
All right, take it easy, man.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Happy Easter.
Easter.
And froze at the end.
Big froze. All right. I'm just going to take him out till he remembers to take himself out.
But I made a point too. I didn't take some of my Corthalidone today just so that wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
I'll take it tomorrow, I promise. But that was such a great getting to talk to him, and it's such appreciative of him coming on, talking to us about his living the dream, doing what we all would love to be able to do. At least I would love to do anyway.
That'd be awesome. And like I said, I mean, for those out there who haven't gotten a chance to not just check out the toys, but the comic as well.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, I am not I have not been into a lot of comics in the last decade, and the comic is legitimately really good. It is definitely something I'm going to keep collecting. So check it out, man. And check out the original one too. The original Kingdom from 2013 is a really good story. And while it is different from the new Animal Warriors of the Kingdom, he's kind of revamped it, and they're kind of retelling the story that that was originally done. The original story is so good, and I want to tell you what, like I said, I like the artwork. I love the original artwork better because it's just so unique. I thought he did a great job. So I hope he personally gets to, like, do at least, one of the issues.
Yeah.
So he can,
or even like a one-off side story or something like that.
Yeah, something. Yeah. Because I'd love to see that artwork again. It's really, really cool, unique style that he's got there. But
like how they articulate, it's like I like the design of the toys, but the comic is what got me all in online. The having a connection to mythos, toy line, cool toys are one thing, but when you have something that connects to like a mythos, a lore to it, it really makes you connect to it even more.
Well, this is why I love Valaverse figures, but I like G.I. Joe better. Why? Well, because we have the stories, we have the cartoons that I grew up with. We have the G.I. Joe movie from 1987, which I watch once every 6 months to this day. Like, there's a reason why I gravitate towards that, is because there were stories there that I enjoyed, and when you have that, it makes the toy much, much more desirable and valuable and personal to your collection. And like
my first introduction to Sergeant Slaughter was Real American Hero. It was like, I didn't watch wrestling when I was little. I watched it when I was a teenager in like the 90s, but I didn't when I was little. But so the Real American Hero Sarge was my first introduction to the character, and it's like over the top, basically super soldier, like destroying bats with his bare hands.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
and that's why I like that figure over the Valaverse version, because yes, the Valaverse one's more like a realistic proportion type character, but to me, Sarge is that big giant monster of a man and tearing robots in half and bounce barehanded.
Yeah. So, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
We've worked very hard on those.
Oh, and how ridiculous thing of one shots are being discussed. Maybe one of them will have the OG art style. That'd be awesome.
That would be cool, because that art, I just love that artwork. It was just so so different, so unique. So they did a great job.
Oh, not reading. This was my brother's when he was little. I restored it. I cleaned it up and did a full did a redo to the face, airbrushed it, restored the rocket launcher, got a new sticker kit, and turned out really nice. That's my first forte into airbrushing. I want to airbrush that blue and the yellow and the orange.
All right. Well, it is about time, for me anyway, to cut out, because I have my other podcasts I have to get to.
Oh, and Sergeant Slaughter was like, is Captain America, like in G.I. Joe? Yep.
Yep.
The OG art style was done with Jason. The current art style is done Ultima Parista. Clean airbrushing. I wish you had the hours from back to that. Yeah, that's the reason why it's nostalgic. I'd restore it with my brothers from 1977. We're still got to run next at work. Thank you so much. And thank you guys for sitting up, letting us get all this set up. And
Yep. This was fun.
Very fun. Well, we will close down the stream and thank you again. And we got on the Geek Fusion channel tomorrow is the Geek Chat.
Yep.
And a bunch of us be there talking about geeky stuff.
Yep. Geek stuff tomorrow. It will be fun.
Later.
Later, guys.